another lift from Bruno, and it's a system that actually allows you to be able to drive a pickup truck again. All the controls are located on my back door back here, and I know them by heart, so I can actually have the door closed when I'm actually operating everything on the lifts. Basically, what I do is I'll lift the rear hatch back up. And what this does is it actually protects a power chair or a manual chair from getting wet or the elements of the weather when you put it in your truck. That way you can keep it dry. You don't have to worry about messing up a $15,000, $20,000 power chair back in the back. I have this set up right now for 4 clamps. The reason why I've got it set up for 4 because I use a power chair from time to time for bowling and camping and stuff. So it'll actually hook on all 4 quadrants of the wheelchair, and they'll pick it up level to pick it up. You can actually have it just set up with 1 carabiner, just 1 little hook to lift up a manual chair because there's not a lot of weight, and so it can just pick it up in the center. The way I've got it set up, I use the power chair on and off, so I'll actually use my manual chair and the power chair back and forth, so I just keep the 4 buckles on there all the time. And then the seat will actually rotate out and lower down so that I can make a transfer onto it. Now with this seat from Bruno, right now they're working on being able to use the factory seat with the truck, but right now you got to actually purchase their seat to go in the truck, which is kind of a problem because you want your upholstery and stuff like that to match your other seats, so sometimes it runs into a problem. This one here was gray, and I had a gray interior, so it worked out pretty good. There is another company that does it. It's called Easy. It's the Easy Reach seat. It's a different manufacturer, and their seat you can actually use the factory seat with it. But some of the if you got power controls on your seat, some of the controls won't be operational. But most of the regular factory things will still be operational.
That other seat Ken just mentioned too, it's much more limited in its application.
Yeah.
There's a lot more applications where this type of seat will work, where that one will not. But if your vehicle that you're looking at is compatible, then in a lot of cases you can maintain that factory seat.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration when you're switching out seats or whatever, because if you've got a quad cab and you've got a B-pillar here, the B-pillar is a center column that comes down here because you got 2 opening doors. That could be a problem because the seat's got to be able to clear that B-pillar to be able to get out so that you can be able to get into the seat. A lot of manufacturers now are making the B-pillar a little bit too close to us now, and so for the quad cabs, we're having some problems with making sure that the seat will work, for that application. You also got to keep in mind how long that person's legs are that's going to be getting into the truck too, because they got to have clearance to get their legs into the door. You want to add something to it?
Yeah, I was just going to mention there's a new product that Bruno has out. In its function and appearance, it looks very similar to this. It's engineered a little differently. We're able to program it a little better to accommodate that B-pillar issue that Ken mentioned, and it's opened up a lot more applications for this seat, where when Ken got this was kind of the cutting edge at the time. There is something new that has opened up a lot more applications and given us a lot more flexibility about what we can and can't accommodate. So but as far as its function, it's identical. It swivels out and down just like this. It's just a little different in the way that it accomplishes that.
Now the one thing about this system, if you don't like the rain, you're going to have to learn to like it because you're going to get wet. It's going to happen. I can get in the chair within 4 minutes, basically is what time it takes me to get the chair hooked up, get it popped up, and get me into the truck. If it's snowing or sleeting or stuff like that, the question is, if you're going to fall out of the seat, okay, It's not if, but when you fall out of the seat, okay? It's gonna happen. The question you've got for a lot of the quadriplegics and everything that want these trucks, how are you gonna get back into that seat or get back into your chair when it happens? Because, oh, well, I'll have someone help me. It's not gonna happen, I'm telling you. When you fall out of that seat, you're gonna be in the most desolate area there is, and there's gonna be nobody there to help you. And basically what I'll do now, I try to get it out as far away from the truck as I can. So that way when it spins around, that it's not gonna hit the truck at all. And I've been pretty good at doing this, but when it's really, really windy, sometimes the wheel will turn around and hit the side of the truck, but it's very, very rare that I hit it.
While Ken's running that in, I'll just mention that this setup isn't for everybody. We see a lot of people, especially a lot of young men, they don't want to have anything to do with a minivan. And you know, they want their truck, and there's a lot we can do to help them with that, but this isn't for everybody. A lot of people will see Ken or others with these setups like this, and they'll see it and that's it. I've got to have a truck, I've got to do it, but we need to be real careful in who we're doing this for, because over the years, and Steve's seen this situation a few times recently, people they insist on a truck. They don't want to have anything to do with a minivan, but in a lot of cases a minivan's really going to be their only option.
They've got other conversions for pickup trucks where they'll actually lower the floor and they'll have a lift that'll come out, they'll actually drive onto the lift. It'll pull them all the way into the truck behind the steering wheel. They've got another one that'll actually have a lift that's underneath the truck. They'll lower down and they'll drive up onto the lift. It'll lift them up and they can actually drive their power chair into the van or their manual chair and pull up behind the wheel. Those situations with those type of trucks, it's a very expensive modification to do on those. One's called the Goshichi, and that's one where they actually weld this door and the passenger door together, and a lift is actually attached to it. It picks it up and then closes the doors into the truck. It's, what's that, about $30,000?
It's about a $30,000 modification for that type of thing.
About a $30,000 conversion. So
this setup Ken has with everything is roughly $15,000 to $17,000 for what Ken's got going on here.
Yeah. So it just depends on what your client's going to be needing and what they want and what they actually can work with. And that's one thing you got to be able to differentiate between is what is a want and what's a need. Basically, we can do a lot of things with regular vehicles to possibly get them mobile and get them independent more. But there's a lot of things that they see these trucks and they want them, and it's like, this might not be the best option for you. Because I had this one guy who was trying to transfer into my seat. He was a quadriplegic, C5, C6 quad. He had pretty good arm strength and stuff, but he could not make the transfer from his chair into the seat right here. It took him 25, 30 minutes to make the transfer. I'm like, all right, it took you 30 minutes to get into the seat. What are you gonna do when it's raining, snowing, sleeting outside? I said, you're gonna be hating life, you're gonna be hating me because I actually recommended it for you. I said, so you gotta be able to think in more realistic terms. This operates off the same battery that I've got in my truck as a regular, there's nothing special on the battery or anything.
Any other questions? Yeah, Ken?
Yeah.
Did you special order the truck?
No, it was a regular truck.
So you
that
didn't special order it? Okay.
No.
I was just wondering because if you special ordered
you could get the secondary battery, and it probably wouldn't be that more expensive to have that
Yeah,
option put on there.
I put in the a little bit stronger battery in
Yeah.
mine, but it's got the regular alternator and stuff. It operates the same, so
But it might be a suggestion
Yeah.
if somebody was going to go to something like that,
yeah.
is to go ahead and special order your truck, because you can order options like a secondary battery or bigger alternators, stuff like that, and it's not going to make the difference in price of the vehicle.
You can also have installed locally a second battery. So there's a lot of places you can have a dual battery system installed if you already have a truck that doesn't have that.
Exactly, and if it's still under warranty though, that can void your warranty. I worked for a Ford dealer before, and any modifications to a vehicle,
Especially, particularly a Ford vehicle, Ford truck, would void the warranty because of alterations that's been done on previously trucks, you know, over the last few years, and most of that was because of diesel engine modifications and stuff like that. That the last few years, when they changed over to this new engine, that they put in their warranty specs that any modification on any of their pickups would void that warranty. So if you're got a customer or somebody that's looking to buy a vehicle, particularly even a Ford vehicle, that it would be recommended to special order it, that way they don't void their factory warranty.
Yeah, I've got a couple things I'll add just in general on warranties. Over the years, we've had a lot of, a lot of customers. We've done, literally hundreds, if not thousands, of modifications on vehicles, and obviously, those vehicles are going to end up back at a dealer for one reason or another. And in general, we haven't had too many issues, but in general, there's very little effect on your warranty, other than if the problem that the dealer discovers is caused either by the equipment we've installed or if we've modified something on the vehicle. And we'll look at this specifically on this other van we're going to look at. There's a lot of Toyota things that Toyota has built that are modified. Those typically, it will void the warranties on those individual items that are modified by the conversion or the modification, or if it's caused by the modification. Other than that, we haven't had too many issues with voided warranties and things like that.
but it's up to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. These are modifications. This truck was a factory stock truck that this equipment was installed into. Same with the chariot lift we looked over there. There's no real permanent modification to the vehicle with either one of these modifications. Ken could take this lift and this chair out of this truck and put it in another one. The conversion companies have partnerships with Toyota, Honda, Dodge, Chrysler. They have partnerships, and they work together on these to formulate a warranty plan. So if you do buy one, you're not losing anything on the warranty.